Live. Who's this? Whose
We're,
number
we're
is
live. We're live. It's too late.
Too late. B10.
Morning, everybody. All 0 of us. That's okay. I wouldn't say anything because it'll be visible later, and I wasn't going to go pull it off. If you want to text me who's who, I can.
Yeah. Well, it was the text thread that was just you, me, and one other person, and it was about Nail Academy Congressional, and I don't know who that is. Who do you know who that is? You and I.
No, but he knows you. He came back and said he knew you.
No, I don't mean the person that says.
Oh yeah, I know who that is.
That texted us.
Yeah.
Okay, that's who I don't know who it is.
Oh, okay.
The other number involved in this, I'm not quite sure. Maybe you can tell me after.
There it is.
Still, right. I don't know who that is.
Okay, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Brief like breeze. With. So there was. With just us.
Just us.
Here we go. Look at that banner. Woohoo.
You're good. Sticks and Vago should be impressed. That came up fast.
Yeah. Woohoo. All right.
I don't have an email from you, dude.
Let me double check. I sent it to your Gmail address.
Maybe it's just wandering through the.
I wonder if it bounced back. I'll forward it to you just to make sure.
All right.
I might have been on a VPN when I sent it, and that sometimes screws my stuff.
Hey, Badass is on board. Hey, good morning,
Badass. Zero Hotel. Morning, Badass.
Welcome aboard. Dizzy's here, sort of.
Damn, got some loyal listeners,
dude.
Look at us.
And look at me. I showed up to talk with no water. It's all right.
And me with no beer.
Well, it's kind of
it's noon somewhere.
Early in the day.
Oh, and Scott, Semper Fi, Scott. Chucker.
Holy shit.
Chucker's here.
Everybody.
Happy birthday, late birthday, indeed.
Thanks, Chucker.
Mm-hmm. Water. Actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I'm going to grab a soda so I have some lubrication on my throat when I start clicking, and then we'll go. All right. Maybe 90 seconds, we'll go start the show.
Okay, good. Go. Boom. A little concerned, everybody, that he's got a cat. I heard him say, "Hello, kitty cat." I'm a little concerned about that. Right?
As soon as I close this door and start recording, it doesn't matter what I'm recording. My daughter's cat sits outside the door and starts mouthing off.
Daughter's cat. Okay, that explains it. I was going to say, your stock just went down.
I know, right?
Found out you have a cat.
She drives a Subaru, too.
Oh, whoa. How long has she been a lesbian?
Not as long as me, brother. Not as long as me.
Dude, me too, right? Me too.
Been a lesbian my whole life and proud of it. All right. All right. Hang on. Gonna put a man on the moon. Can't design a cord that doesn't twist up in about 4 seconds flat.
Well, can say the same thing about well, what are those called? What are the jockey boxers? The ones that aren't supposed to ride up. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've tried all different brands, in and out of the cockpit. They still ride up. That's bunched up around your junk.
Is that what you call it now? The cockpit?
What's it supposed to be called? The flight deck? Is that what you mean?
No. Are you talking about your jockeys riding up? I'm going. You calling it the cockpit now?
It's scrunching around the cockpit, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not good at all.
Yeah.
Boxer briefs. That's
there you go. Yeah.
Not a big.
What's the other program I can listen live with Sticks? He did one with Quinny. It's called the Real Rescue, RES and the letter Q. He did an episode with Quinny.
Our
Coast Guard rescue swimmer. Those guys are badass. Speaking of badass. All right. So let's do this. Let's do this.
I'm getting dizzy with all these different.
I know, right? And go down to the bottom here. Make sure we're not on repeat, as it were.
Are we recording? We're not recording.
We are recording. The question is, should I play the music? I can put that in later.
We should play the music.
All right, we'll play the music. You got So There I Was out of the music. Here we go.
All right, let it rip, Tater Chip.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit, on the tanker, through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fun.
So there I was, probably 18,000 feet, nose down, digging hard, about 6 G's maybe. I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm waiting for this guy to put his nose right on me, and then I was going to really do something good. And about that time, I started hearing that bang, 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 bang against the side of the plane.
Who wants in?
I knew from previous experience that's a compressor stall. And by the way, it's an attention getter. So knee jerk reflex reaction is throttle idle, which, as happenstance would have it, is exactly the right NATOPS procedure, throttle idle. And I called knock it off, went throttle to idle, leveled my wings, and was trying to assess. And shortly thereafter, I hear, "Lead, you're on fire. Eject, eject."
Okay. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong with that?
And that's how a terrifying aviation tale begins. Greetings, everyone. RePete here. No preamble this week, as you may have already noticed. It's just us knuckleheads. So, just us numbskulls.
You're stuck with us today, and for better or for worse. We had like 6 guys lined up, and the Swiss cheese model wouldn't line up, so we couldn't get anybody.
Yes, schedules are tough some days, and this is one of those tough day schedules. So,
hey, deer season opened yesterday. I'm going to be out of pocket for a few days because I got my shit packed, so to speak, and I'm off. And so we got to do it. We got to do it.
Yeah. So, well, fantastic. Well, we got a million things to talk about. The first thing I think is kind of timely. We'll just briefly touch on, well, what happened with UPS that we know so far, and answer some of the questions that I'm sure you've gotten, and I know I've gotten.
Oh yeah.
So I've got almost 7,000 hours in that airplane. I love the MD-11. There's no doubt it's a varsity bird. You had to be on your A game when you were flying it every time.
Okay, why is that? Why? It's got some interesting.
It's got some handling characteristics that were different. Among other things, that the horizontal tail stabilizer was also, just like your wings are a fuel tank on an airliner. In the MD-11, your tail has tanks. You've got a tail tank.
You got to be shit.
And that's how they made it more fuel efficient, because your optimum angle of attack is at about, in this airplane, about, my recollection is 32 degrees isn't the word I'm looking for, but
percent Mach,
for 32% of your center of gravity. You want your center of gravity far enough back that you get the optimum angle of attack. Depending on where your center of gravity is in the airplane, the tailplane is having to do more work, and the more work it does, the more drag it creates, and thus your airplane's less fuel efficient.
Yeah. Hey,
well, the way to properly go ahead.
That's a really good point. Can you be a little more specific, especially for
Yeah.
Are
right.
non, so why is that? Why do we want to ask CG?
Let's go back to it. Yeah, there's two types of drag in an airplane, as they call it. One is parasitic drag, and that's the square part of the airplane that the square footage of the airplane that you're trying to push through the air at any given time. And as airspeed goes up, that goes up exponentially. The faster you go, the more drag you're creating, and
it's friction from the air flowing over all the surfaces, right?
Yeah, think of it as riding down the road at 50 miles an hour and stick your hand out the window flat sideways. And now do that at 100 miles an hour, and you've got 4 times as much pressure on your hand at 100 that you do at 50. It's math.
It's weird. It's just math.
Math, right? Yeah. So you've got parasitic drag, and that's what that is. And then you have, damn, I just went blank on the word, and I just
aerodynamic.
Aerodynamic. Yeah, there's another word for it. Drag that lift creates.
Yeah, it's drag due to lifting forces.
Yeah. And
there's a special name for it, and I'm drawing a blank on it too.
So am I. Oh man, don't get old. It's bad for your memory. Anyway, so there's
a lot of things that are bad.
Yeah, drag is created by lift. The wing has to create pressure, upward pressure, and that creates drag. And guess what? The tailplane, the horizontal stabilizer and elevator that controls the pitch, whether the nose is up or down and that sort of thing, is also creating lift. It creates lift in both directions. In other words, when you pull back on the stick to get the nose up, you're creating downward lift. You're pushing the tailplane down. And obviously, when you want to go down, you push forward on the stick. It creates upward lift to push the nose down and lift the tail. So
induced drag. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
I knew someone would have it.
Induced drag. It's a byproduct of lift.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So don't get old. It's bad for your memory. I repeat that over and over again. One of Pete's adages. Pete's other adage is you can have nice things or you can have kids and pets.
That's pretty spot on. You can have nice things again when they move out.
Right? Yes. When is that? When does that happen?
Well,
they're in their 20s.
Yeah, we're working on that.
No. Still. You know what? Love having my daughter home. Love having my son home. So it's good. But back to lift. So basically, you want to have as little lift being created by the tailplane as possible when you're in cruise flight. And you do that in the MD-11 by moving a lot of weight back into the tail tanks.
Okay.
The other thing they did to reduce drag back there, they decided they were going to reduce parasitic drag. And so even though the MD-11 is a variant, a 2-seat variant of the DC-10, which was a 3-man cockpit, they made the tailplane smaller by 30% or more. I mean, it's a lot smaller. So it has less authority, especially in a high angle of attack, high flap setting, slower speed environment.
Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. So
it's a trade-off.
And then you've got software in there with your LSAS, your longitudinal stability augmentation system, which helps control the pitch and all that. But it made the airplane a varsity airplane to fly, and that among other things. And then the other thing is, and there are several airliners that do this, but your main gear are behind your rotational axis, your pitch axis of rotation. So when you're in close to the ground, if you feel like you're coming down too fast, the natural reaction is to pull back on the stick to slow your rate of descent.
Yeah.
The reaction to save your backside is to push up on the throttles to slow your rate of descent, because with your gear behind your rotational axis, you're actually accelerating the speed with which your main gear are driving into the deck.
Yeah. So you're going to hit harder.
Yeah, it's actually going to hit it harder. So, so that's why it was a varsity airplane. Doesn't mean I didn't love it. Here's the thing, Fig. I flew the T-2 Buckeye in 1989. Was the last non-McDonnell Douglas airplane I flew. After that, it was A4s, then Harriers. Then I got hired to the DC-10, did the DC-10, and then the MD-11. And so I grok McDonnell Douglas. I mean, the light switches are the same shape. Floodlights are teardrop, panel lights are square. And the whole thing made sense to me. So when I went to a Boeing for the first time in my life in 2020, I was like, They didn't even paint the cockpit the right color. What the hell's the matter with these people?
Right, where are we? Wow.
Yeah. So I could point to a Boeing and say airplane, but that was about my knowledge of a Boeing before then. So I love that airplane. But so back to what happened. And one of the questions I got was, and this was before we knew that an engine had fallen off. And fairly quickly, they determined that the left engine, the number one engine, came off of the airplane and was found off the right side of the runway. So crap ton of kinetic energy going on there with the engine at full power. For whatever reason, it ripped off, and they'll discover the mode and method of that. What happened there? How did it come off? Had one guy who was a mechanic tell me he thinks the whole engine core came out of the shroud. I find that hard to believe, but again, nothing's impossible, right? And we'll figure that out. But so the main question I got is, well, why didn't they just, to pull the fire extinguisher handle and put it out?
Well, let's talk about
you teach.
that.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just put the fire out, Fig?
So, let's start with this. When, and by the way, these procedures, these general standard operating procedures, were written in blood over time. And what I mean by that is, due to fatal accidents and trend information over time, since aviation began, we have developed some certain foolproof, maybe, reasons why you don't do certain things. Pilot proof. Yeah. And so, as a general rule of thumb, we don't do anything until we get to a certain altitude, regardless of what's going on. Would that be a good general statement?
Yeah. Unless you want to hurt yourself.
Because you can make a horrible mistake because of the startle factor, which in this instance, do you think there was a startle factor? Because I can pretty much guarantee there was.
Yeah.
Right?
In fact, I don't remember if it was Approach Magazine or Flying. I think it was Flying Magazine. And I remember reading this 35, 40 years ago. And they interviewed like 40 guys who had retired with more than 10,000 hours of flight time, that with no accidents whatsoever in their record. And they said, to what do you attribute your successful career, as it were? And the number one answer was not having fast hands.
No fast hands. I was thinking that before you even said it. I was thinking, no fast hands.
No. What do they always say, right? In flight school, they used to teach us, wind your watch. I mean, I don't have a watch you can wind anymore, but it's still not bad advice. It's got a crown on it.
We had that. We always had clocks on the instrument panel, right? And you could just hit it. It started the stop. It started the timer.
Stopwatch on.
Yeah. So hit the timer. Take a breath, and then kind of see what you got. All while you're flying the plane. By the way, flying the airplane is the absolute most first rule of order, number one.
Easy.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So at our standard operating procedure at the company I work for is you don't do anything until you're above 400 feet AGL.
Right.
Period. Dot. Fly the plane, get away from the ground. And then and only then, if everything else is under control, can you start assessing and maybe running a procedure, but absolutely nothing below 400 feet.
Right.
And
we didn't do it until, I want to say, at 500 feet, we would put on the autopilot. And then at 1,000 feet, we would lower the nose. And this is AGL, so above the ground level.
Yeah.
And then at 1,000 feet, we would lower the nose and start accelerating and get up the flaps. And the call was flaps up, what's up?
Yeah.
And this would raise, and the non-flying pilot would go, engine fire, number one engine, or number three, whichever.
Yeah.
And you'd then say, okay, accomplish the phase once. And then he didn't reach over and just shut off the number one engine. He would put his hand on the number one engine cutoff and go, confirm number one. And the pilot flying had to look down and go, yeah, you're touching the right one. Don't shut down the wrong engine. things go badly when you do that. So
can you expand on why it is that we are required to confirm with the other person in the cockpit that you're about to do something?
Yeah, because once again, especially in this situation, if the guy reaches down and he's thinking number one engine and for whatever reason grabs the number 3 shutoff handle, now you've got 2 bad engines on your hand. Well, one bad engine and one turned off. And oh, by the way, here's the other thing. Just because an engine's on fire doesn't mean it's not generating thrust.
That's right. That's right.
It could still be working for you, and you could use that thrust at least for the first 1,000 feet to get away from the hard things that will hurt when you hit them at a high speed. So.
Well, that reminds me of Captain Royce Williams.
Yes,
his story about the F4, and it was on fire.
Yep, and his Rio ejected, and he was in afterburner to get it aboard.
He had to keep it in afterburner to keep it flying. So there's an example. You're on fire, engine's on fire, but it was still producing thrust.
Yep.
Not a lot, but it was producing thrust.
Yep.
Yeah. So we say, hey, let it burn, because it's self-contained out there in the engine pod, and it's designed to be okay. The exception
with high temperatures.
With high temperatures, the exception to the rule is uncontained engine failure. Can you talk about that?
Well,
Have you ever had one?
I haven't had one, but that's when engine blades and turbine blades start through centrifugal force coming loose from their hub and shooting through the side of the engine. And Tammy Joe had that back in episode 35. I know it was one of them. It's either 34 and 35 or 35 and 36. Yeah. Nerves of Steel, and She Hit Me are those 2 episodes. They had a number 1 uncontained engine failure, and I think it was actually the shroud on that one that broke the window, not a blade.
Big chunk of the shroud. So uncontained engine failure means
parts of the engine are no longer contained within that shroud.
Yeah. And that shroud's designed to be, it's supposed to protect from that, but obviously it's literally an explosion, and shrapnel is leaving in all directions.
Yeah, including forward. In spite of the high speed.
Yeah, which is kind of hard to wrap your head around. Yeah. Especially if you're doing 200, 300, 400 knots, and you got stuff going forward. So back to this, because I had to answer questions the other night from my bride about, what do you think? What happened? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? And I had to explain to her that, first of all, let's talk about this. She said, well, why didn't they just, fly it away? And I said, well, I'm sure they were trying like hell to fly away.
They were wrestling an alligator. Yeah.
My guess is that there's probably a second engine that failed.
Yeah. And if you look at the video, and I have an ongoing bet with somebody over someone else I was talking to who thinks it's the number 2 engine. I think it's the number 3 engine. But it's pretty apparent from one of the videos that the left wing was on fire, and then you see big flames coming out of another engine. Now, the video is blurry, so it's difficult to tell. The reason I think it's the number 3 is twofold. One, it's a lot lower than the number 2 engine. The number 2 engine is 40-some feet up in the air. But with all that kinetic energy, could a lot of metal gotten up there and fought at the number 2 engine? Yeah, fought foreign object damage. But because that number 1 engine made it all the way across to the right side of the runway, I have a feeling that some of it made it down into the number 3 engine. It doesn't matter. The fact is, I believe with all of my heart, and we'll see this from the NTSB soon enough, that they were down to 1 engine. Down to 1 good engine. If in fact they didn't FOD both of the other engines. But there was so much damage. That engine was off the left wing. That wing was terribly on fire. And here's the thing. You can't look out the window and see. You cannot see your engine from the cockpit.
That's a good point.
What's going on?
That's a very good point.
Yeah. All they have is cockpit indications and probably fire or engine failure. No telling what they had in the cockpit, and could see or understand. And so they got that. But So now they're going. I lost track of where I was going with it, but they're going down the runway. They've got an engine failure or fire, and they're past V1, or they would have stopped. V1, your takeoff safety speed.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What is that? What does that mean?
V1 is the computed speed at which you were assured to be able to stop on the runway in the event that you need to abort your takeoff. Plain and simple.
So another way of saying it is if you're past
there's
V1,
no assurance that you're going to get it stopped. Had they known the extent of the damage of that airplane, they may have tried to stop past V1. I think had I known, I think I would too. That being said, don't think I'm trying to Monday morning quarterback. Well, I would have done this differently. You know what I would have done? Probably the exact same thing those guys did. They were very experienced pilots in that airplane, and I think I would have flown to my death simply the same way they did had that happened to me. I just know it was unsurvivable based on current procedures.
Well, I'm going to join the bet, and I'm going to say the number 2 engine also was failed or not producing takeoff thrust.
Yeah.
And I'm going to base that on the direction it rolled.
So, yeah, and I've got a theory on that too. So after the Sioux City accident in the late 1980s, DC-10, Al Haynes, McDonnell Douglas went through and redesigned a bunch of the hydraulic systems on those airplanes. And I think the MD-11 may have come out with this design already in it. And it was for that one, they had an uncontained number 2 failure, and it was up in the tunnel where all 3 hydraulic systems happened to meet. And it sliced through all the systems, and they lost all hydraulic fluid and all control of the airplane. And they only had electric trim to control the pitch and engine power to control a nose direction. So that anybody survived that was truly a miracle. Al Haynes did a magnificent job with his crew on the flight deck that day. There are check valves in the hydraulic system on the McDonnell Douglas airplanes now, so that if you have a catastrophic failure to a hydraulic system, there are check valves to prevent things like your slats, your leading edge slats, to help develop extra lift on the wing, are held in place. Again, a wild ass guess here, and I admit it. I don't like to speculate about these sorts of things, but I will tell this is pure speculation. But with all the damage out on that left wing, perhaps those check valves were no longer able to hold the slats out. And now you've got a right wing with slats developing all this lift, and a left wing with the slats that have now blown back due to aerodynamic forces and the hydraulic pressure not being available to hold those slats out. Now you've got a wing developing less lift. So here's the worst part of it. The Swiss cheese rule, right? Everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong for these guys. They're just
like all at the same time.
Yeah,
for real.
But yeah, it could have been the number 2. So the number 3 engine is the only motor on the airplane developing all the lift, all the power, rather, the thrust, and yeah, that's going to roll you to the left as well.
So hey, let's. I want to comment one more thing about V1. So we said V1 was the takeoff decision speed.
Yep.
Which, if you go past that speed, you're not guaranteed enough runway to stop on. So we usually call that, your decision speed, or V1 is anything bad happens after V1. You're going
flying.
You're going flying. And we also have at our the company that I fly for have what we call the high speed regime. So we have the high speed regime. And then that between the high speed regime and V1, there are only certain things.
Yeah. What is it? Engine fire, engine failure, wind shear, and doubt as to whether or not it would fly. I think I'm blanking on that too. But
any fire,
yeah,
an engine failure, a wind shear event, or unable and safe to fly. That is a big. Yeah. That is a big category, but
it really is. And excuse me. And Sim Sedlow asks in the questions online, does the V1 take into account the holy shit moment and a few moments to recognize? And I would say no. Once V1's called, you go. That being said, we
can
did have one at our company where the guy was going down the runway, and after V1 hit about 400,000 starlings. They were all sitting there on the runway, and as the airplane approached, the entire flock came. They counted literally more than 400 carcasses on the runway. Whoa. He was past V1, and he went, "This thing ain't going to fly," and he stopped it and kept it on the runway. So
that's impressive.
That tells me V1 may be a little conservative, but
so let me go back to that. And what we do to counter that, the holy shit moment, is we call V1 5 knots prior to the speed.
Oh, okay.
That factors in the oh shit moment, and the reaction. So we call it 5 knots prior. Well, how long does it take to go from 5 knots prior to V1? Well, about that long. But that's
about a second.
That's reaction time, right? And so that's
really accelerating that.
That's how we counteract that.
And then, and here's the other thing we do at V1 that I bet you do too. Your hand comes off the throttles.
Oh,
so
good
you
point.
Don't even accidentally pull them back.
Because of the startle factor.
Yep.
Yeah. Captain's hands come off the throttles at the V1 call, so that if a fire bell or some crazy shit happens right after that, the knee-jerk reaction isn't throttles idle.
Yep.
It's because you're committed. Oh, yep. and I want to address this. We some years back, gosh, it's been long ago, we went from a balanced field V1 equation to it's unbalanced. So can I try to describe that to our non-aviators?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we'd always use balanced field.
Okay, so balanced field. I'm going to keep it real simple. So let's say you got an 8,000 foot runway. A balanced field means you'll have equal or greater amount of runway to stop on than it takes to take off. So they calculate based on temperature and pressure what power setting you need to hit your rotation speed and still have at least half of the runway left. Well, it uses a lot of power, which the higher power takeoffs make your engine rebuild time last. It reduces it anyway. It costs money, so we do most of the time reduced thrust takeoffs. So we calculate takeoff performance based on temperature, pressure, weight, wind, all the things that you need to go flying, and then it calculates a lower thrust takeoff. However, you'll use more runway to get to takeoff speed because you're setting a lower power. But they calculate that so that you always have enough room or runway left to stop, but it won't be half. Like, let's just say you got a 10,000 foot runway. You may use 7,000 feet of it for the takeoff roll, which only leaves, and when you hit V1, there's only 3,000 feet left, which on paper is enough to do a high-speed reject that's max brakes, max reverse thrust, the whole thing, and stop on the paved surface.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Did I explain that okay?
Yeah, no, that was perfect. And I was going to ask you about the whole, and you went right to reduced power, which is, it's a big deal. You're saving on the engines and all that. And then there's still a whole thing as to whether, would I ever reject past V1? I'd like to think not, but again, as they couldn't see out the window, they didn't know what they had. If they had, they may have tried to reject past V1, and probably better go off the end of the runway at 30 knots than what happened to them. So, and with the level of flames coming off of that left wing, had they managed to get that thing in the air, I'm not sure the wing structure would have held up long enough for them to get it around the landing.
It makes me think that hot shrapnel went through the fuel cell there, and that's where that fire was coming from.
Yep. Yeah.
Or it was, I can't imagine, because the engine departed. So it's got to be, because that's how we lost several Harriers the same way. High speed turbine blades shooting through the fuel cell, plane, catches on fire, basically explodes. So
yeah.
Oh,
so God bless them. Prayers are with all the families. I mean, it wasn't just the pilots they lost. I think it was another 9 or 10 or 11 people on the ground, and it was just horrible, absolutely horrible and difficult to watch.
Hey, let me backtrack for a second. You made a statement. I wrote it down because I wanted you to kind of expand on it. But you said MD-11 was a varsity airplane to fly. Airplane to fly. So we've said, and our peers have said that flew the Harrier. It's like it was a kind of a varsity airplane to fly.
Absolutely.
Which meant you had to pay attention. You really had to pay attention to what you were doing, especially when you're moving the nozzles around. But can you give a better explanation of what you meant by varsity?
I think the other effective way to say it is there are some airplanes that are a little more forgiving than others,
that's a good term,
for lack of attention, or even not necessarily lack of attention, but maybe lack of skill, maybe lack of and skill is something that is not natural, but is built and learned and that sort of thing. I mean, you can teach a skill, but for instance, a 172 is a pretty forgiving little Cessna. But like the Vans RV, or even better yet, a Skywagon, the Cessna 180, that's a tail dragger, not a forgiving airplane. There's a lot of mass behind those tail wheels, and once your ass end starts to swing around in a tail dragger, that airplane's unforgiving. You're going to ground loop it, probably dig a wing into the ground, all kinds of things. It is not an airplane that you can just go, well, we'll probably be okay. A Cessna 172, you can get away with a little more. It's a learning airplane.
Yeah,
is the best way to put it, I guess.
You can make a bigger mistake and still be okay.
Yes,
in a forgiving airplane. Yeah,
and the Harrier was particularly in the V-stall environment. The flight envelope was flat. When you got to the edge of the envelope and pushed it, you fell off the edge and lost the airplane, and maybe yourself, depending on whether you got out in time or not, as opposed to up and away in an ACM fight. If you departed, the envelope, the airplane would tumble and go stupid on you and just neutralize everything, and you could get it back. You couldn't do that in the V-stall environment, in the hovering environment, that sort of thing.
Let's be honest. In the up high, if you had an out of control situation in the Harrier, you just let everything go. It was a lawn dart. It would end up
nose down.
It would end up coming straight down.
Yeah, getting speed.
Yeah.
So and as Chucker says in here, he sort of learned the RV is not a forgiving in a skid on a base to final. Yeah, no, that never use bottom rudder. Never use bottom rudder.
It'll kill you. Is it approach turn stall?
I don't know what happened to him, but the RV is not a forgiving airplane in that sense.
Well, stay coordinated. Stay coordinated.
Yeah, always. Take the go around, overshoot, take the go around. Don't use bottom rudder trying to tighten up that turn. And somehow someone taught my daughter to use bottom rudder. And I'm like, oh, you scare a nail out of me when you do that.
Oh,
so she's out of that. Yeah. She doesn't do that no more.
Hey, can you describe what exactly you're saying? Bottom rubber. Let's just pretend I'm not a pilot.
Okay, so you're in the turn. So one foot's higher than the other. So if you're in a right turn, your right foot is the bottom rudder. Okay. And if you feel like you're overshooting, if you start pushing right rudder to help tighten up that turn, you're slowing down your right wing. Yeah, and if you're near stall speed, that right wing can stall. Now you've got a left wing with lift, a right wing without lift, and you're going to wind up flipping over on your back. And at 300 feet, you've got no room to recover. You're going to die.
You need three things always. Airspeed, altitude, and ideas. Yep. Right? And at that point, you're missing two. And you always have to have at least two of the three. You have to have two of the three always to get to not break rule number one, which is what is rule number one? Don't get dead.
Fuck it up. Yeah, don't get dead. Yeah. He says he felt the buffet at a local airport doesn't have a direct approach, and man, it was eye-opening. Yeah, I believe you, Chucker.
Well, Chucker, we're glad you can. You're here to talk about it. Yeah, and I bet you tell every RV guy you ever talk to, dude, don't ever skid the tail around.
No.
Right?
No.
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to go one more venue, one more crack down the UPS incident, and I've totally lost my train of thought. I didn't write it down. Are we done kicking the dead horse for now? I am.
I think so. One of the things we talked about was flying night cargo ops as opposed to why that's a different beast.
Oh, I remember what it is.
Okay.
Because I have got no experience in the MD-11, but I have had experience in big airplanes. Can you? Because you said you can't see the wings, which I totally get. Can you hear the engines from the cockpit? Are they too far back?
I'm sorry. Can you hear the engines?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear them, and I bet they heard something going on bad out there. But
okay.
That'll be the interesting thing when, they pull all the data out and go, at what point did this happen? Did it get violent after V1? My guess is it probably did.
Yeah. Horrific. Horrific.
Yeah. But, okay. Yeah. And then night cargo ops is a different animal. It reminds me of a joke.
What's the joke?
The three cargo pilots, they wind up going to the airport or going to the hotel, and it's about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. They've been flying all night. And we always had meet you at dinner, 5-minute rule. So if you met in the lobby, and if you met in the lobby at 5 p.m., you met there between 4:55 and 5:05. And at 5:06, you walked out the door without the other guy. He was still sleeping. He wasn't coming. That sort of thing.
Okay.
So the two pilots and the flight engineer, see you at 5. All right. Sounds good. And none of them wound up making it to the 5 p.m. dinner, but it's now showtime. It's about 8:30 at night, showtime in the lobby to get picked up by the captain and go out to the car, get to the airport. And they all realized they didn't make it. And the captain said, well, what'd you do, Captain? He says, well, got here about 5:30. I was in bed by 6. I slept till about 9:30, 9:45. Got up, read for a little bit, went over to the driving range down the street and knocked a few golf balls. Came back, read for a little bit, fell asleep about 4 o'clock, slept from about 4 to about 6:30. And so that's why I didn't make dinner. First officer, what'd you do? He says, I slept till about noon and got up, went for a run, came back, read for a little bit. And yeah, I too, he says, I thought I was going to come to dinner at 5 and somewhere around 4:30, I fell asleep and I woke up at 7. And so here I am. Engineer goes, oh man, I was a brand new hire engineer. He goes, well, I went to bed about 6, slept till about 4:30, got up, came down here to meet you guys for dinner, and was in the bar having a Coke and met this gorgeous blonde. And, we hit it off, went back to my room, been going at it for last 3 hours. We just been, and some kind of wore out now, but it was just a nice evening. Captain looks at him and goes, you're a fucking liar. What? There's no goddamn way you slept 10 hours. And that is the life of a cargo pilot. You got sleep in 4-hour increments.
That's rough.
It sucked. So yeah,
that's rough. And I've never experienced that. I've done, I don't know how many red eyes or backside of the clock flying, going to Europe and Asia and that sort of thing, but not like that. And I can tell you, I've passed my fellow brethren who are in that league, and we on opposite ends of the schedule always. And I always look at them and I always think, Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. But obviously you do.
Yeah, you do. It reminds me of the old Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Time to make the donuts, and he finally meets himself coming in the door. I made the donuts. So
That's a good. That's a good. You see the comment from Sim Sedlow.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Oh man. Well, now we got to share it. He says for the last 2 years, we've been paying this guy to pick up shit from his backyard, and the guy was pissed when he found out that Sim didn't have a dog. Oh man. Pilot jokes and shit. So all right. Yeah. So all right. We got a bunch of other topics we could talk about. We've been going actually 40 minutes or so now. And
yeah, wow,
so let's take a minute to thank our sponsor. Break. Okay. I'll throw the sponsor in there for the audio show.
Hey,
flying for the airlines.
Quick question before we put this thing to bed. Did you see? I'm giving a shameless plug to one of our peers. Did Blanco Lirio talk about this yet?
He did, and I thought it was excellent, very respectful. No, he's good at as is Hoover talked about it.
Oh yeah. Hoover.
But he basically went into all the AI bullshit. I'll tell you what, right now, I lost my temper with somebody on X, Twitter, 40 minutes. Literally the fire had not been put out yet. And somebody wrote on there, well, it's lithium battery fire that caused this.
Yeah.
And I wrote, you're a fucking moron, delete your account. But I just couldn't help myself. So, Hoover went into all the AI bullshit. People created AI images and put it up there. And so he talked about that. But Blanco Lirio was very good about he's always good about not speculating, I think,
just the facts.
As to the cause, but here's what we know so far. And so that's great. Yeah.
All right. Let's put a stick. Let's put a pin in it.
Yeah. Put a stake through the heart of that topic for now. So, but another topic we wanted to talk about was flying for the airlines, the shit no one tells you. What did you wish you knew that you didn't know now?
Ooh. Wow. Where do you start?
Yeah.
So I can tell you, the biggest shock factor and I think you're assuming, we're assuming military guys going to the airlines.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't care what branch, it's all the same as far as what I'm about to say. And I know this to be a fact because first of all, I was that guy, but I train those guys in the airplane. And I can tell you it's a shock, just the pace of the operation. It's a different pace. It's a much faster pace of the ground operation. And for instance, once you push off the gate, it's literally sometimes 3, 4, or 5 different frequencies to get to the tower. 5 different people you talk to.
From clearance, delivery, and all that's getting better now with CPDLC, data link communications. But
hey, can you describe that real quick? What is that? What does that mean? CPDLC. What's it do for you?
But was it pilot controller data link communications? I think, but controller pilot, whatever. It's text messages to your FMC, your flight management computer, to get your clearance and I mean, it's gotten so good. Like I remember I was flying into Sydney one time and the city north of Sydney was the center we were talking to via satellite communications, and they actually loaded up a reroute into my flight management computer, and all I had to do was hit accept. So there was no copy error. And what was that? What was that fix I'm going to again? How do you spell that?
Hey, they're doing that now domestically here.
That's awesome.
And it is. So it does free up space. There's no possibility of making a typing error, punching in one wrong letter and have, you know.
And if there is a typing error, they did it, not me.
Yeah. But it most importantly, it frees up the radio frequency.
Yeah.
So there's not, instead of them giving you a full route clearance over the radio, it's bing. Oh, I have a message. Oh, here it is. Here's my route. Well, let's punch it in to see what it looks like. That looks good. Accept, load, done in seconds.
Yeah. Although early on we had a few flight violations because there would be, you know, the way that it came through in the text, it was like, that's what they were doing, is giving you a reroute, and you didn't realize it if you didn't understand the way it was written.
Yeah.
And we had a few guys dealing with flight violations over that, but I think they've gotten past that now. They got to make it pilot proof.
There's always threats in every new, you know, thing we try or do. So and that's definitely one of them. Yeah.
So back to what you were talking about, the pace.
Yeah, the pace of the operation. And so it's been my experience, and it was my experience that I felt like that first couple legs that I was in the actual airplane and out, you know, in the system, flying out of O'Hare, going to all the busy airports where I didn't feel like I was ever really in the cockpit. I felt like I was always behind until we got airborne. When we got airborne, the flying started. Everything makes sense. Yeah. But it's the ground operation, just because there's so much going on, and giant airports with
especially Kennedy and O'Hare and
different,
and Newark and
taxiways going every direction. And
Newark.
Military guys are used to taxiing on very few taxiways. You know, military airports are laid out pretty simple, and unless you're a flight of 4, you know, you and your wingman or you alone may be the only guy taxiing for a while.
Yeah.
It's not the ground frequency is not crowded. You know, there's not 100 different things going on. So it's just
you're not number 14 in line or 40 in line for takeoff.
Yeah, not unless there's an exercise going on, and that's rare. So that I think I was not prepared, nor did anybody say, "Hey, you need to get your head wrapped around this, boy, because this is coming at you." No, that was something that I was kind of shocked at.
The fire hose effect of all the stuff you've got to learn. And once you get it, it was kind of cool though. Again, varsity airports, and go listen to, you know, the YouTube videos of the Kennedy ground controller. That guy was famous. He's retired now, but you know, JetBlue, what are you doing? You can't do anything with that Airbus of yours. Who pulled in front of you? Lufthansa, why are you in front of JetBlue?
Yeah. Brutal. O'Hare is the same. O'Hare's got some they're, you know, awesome controllers. They're ground controllers, the tower and the Chicago approach. I got nothing but respect for those guys. And you could get some, in a very stressful situation, you could get some guys that are a little spicy, and they're good. They're good. And they will berate you with just their tone of voice, and you realize you just got an ass chewing.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly right.
Say your speed.
It was, I think it's gone now. The last time I looked for it, I didn't see it on the O'Hare plate. It used to be called the penalty box, and I think it's now just
they have redone. They're redoing O'Hare. And the penalty box is gone, but you could get put in the penalty box.
Yeah, do something stupid.
You go to the penalty box and you sit there until I'm ready to call you out. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
for real.
Too funny. One other thing. And Sim Sedlow says you want to get what airport stresses you out most on the ground? If you ever want to get confused, look at Istanbul's new airport diagram. That's one I haven't had the pleasure of flying into, but I would say most stressful airport on the ground. Logan, because there's 2 tower frequencies.
Yeah, and there's one area where there's intersecting runways and intersecting taxiways, and it looks like a rat nest.
Yeah,
really.
At least, you know, Kennedy is Kennedy, Newark. Love calling it Newark. O'Hare, all varsity airports, as it were. But Logan, to me, seems the most prone for mistake, for error. But that's just me. But hey, thinking about being far back in line. I was in line for takeoff one morning. We were probably 12 or 15 back, and we were on the parallel taxiway heading to the southeast off out of Kennedy. The takeoffs are going on 3-1 left. And I'm sitting there, and the Concorde rolls for takeoff. And I'm in the right seat of a DC-10.
This was a while back.
Yeah, this is 2000, 2002, somewhere in there. That airplane was so loud. I am not bullshitting you when I tell you I could not read my engine instruments because it was shaking my panel.
Wow.
It was vibrating the panel as that airplane went by.
That's impressive.
It was impressive. So, yeah. I never did get to fly on that. Did you?
Nope. No, I flew with a captain that had that got a jump seat on it. Did I tell you that story?
No.
All right, I'll be brief. He's in training at Eastern Airlines, and he's down in Miami, and he has one day off, so he's not really going anywhere. He was staying in an airport hotel. Wakes up in the morning, opens the drapes, and he's looking across the ramp, and the British Airways Concorde was sitting at the gate. Now, obviously, this was quite a while ago. You didn't have to have a ticket to get into the airport, so he went over and was standing in the gate area at the glass, kind of oodling at the airplane, and the flight crew showed up, and he had his Eastern Airlines ID on, and
this was a while ago.
Yeah, he was talking to the pilots, and the captain says, well, hey, if you got your passport with you, we'll take you to Paris because the airplane's going to turn around and come right back. You can come right back. And he didn't have his passport, so he ran over to the hotel, got his passport, came back. He's on the jump seat. He said the flight engineer spent the entire flight. This kind of tags into what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
spent the entire flight transferring fuel fore and aft to maintain that perfect center of gravity for the least amount of drag. Anyway, it was Miami to Charles de Gaulle, and I think he said it was 2 hours and 48 minutes. And then he was on the ground there for about an hour and a half, flew back, and he was back in time for an early dinner.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's cool. I got a fuel transfer story I'll come into here in a minute, but yeah. So Scott mentions, don't stop when taxiing off the runway at O'Hare or start asking questions, or they'll send you to the belly. Just keep moving. Keep that runway clear. They got shit behind you.
Yeah.
And also mentions, looks like Burbank and is that Orange County, SNA?
Yeah.
Are stressful because of lots of traffic, short runways, and a lot of other airports in the vicinity.
Yeah.
That's why that whole New York area there too. You got Newark, LaGuardia, and JFK. That gets and Teterboro. So
yeah,
it gets
tight. It's tight.
Yeah.
It's tight in there.
So, but yeah, so fuel transfer. But this will be one of my more embarrassing moments in the cockpit, and
let her rip.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing about it. I'm the only one that knew about it. It was beautiful. I'm a flight engineer on the DC-10. I'm on my second flight after finishing IOE as a brand new flight engineer. And we're going from Chicago to Anchorage. And in the reason this happened, not an excuse, but the reason it happened is in the simulator in training, you did all your, here's how you do your fuel transfer. Here's how it works. And then you go, okay, now we're going into the new place. I'm going to lower your fuel down and, all your transfers done and all that stuff. So I never had to do it in flight. Well, for whatever reason, I did not transfer and now I'm trying to remember the DC-10 fuel makeup, but I did not transfer fuel out to you had extra fuel in the aux tanks, and I didn't transfer it out to the wing tanks. That's what it was. And when you had a certain amount of fuel in the airplane, you would open your transfer switches, and they were held open by a solenoid. And once the float valve hit a certain amount and the fuel came down, the solenoid kicked off, and your transfer switches automatically closed, and life is good and everything's even across the board. Well, I never did it, and until I realized now we start our descent into Anchorage and I've got like 40,000 pounds of fuel in my aux tank and maybe 4,000 pounds in each wing. We might have enough fuel in each wing to make it to Anchorage, but maybe not. So now I got to get this fuel out of my aux tank in the middle and out to the wings. And so normally what you would do is turn on your transfer switches and let that fuel transfer out there. But it was the overall fuel quantity was so low, the solenoids wouldn't hold the transfer switches open. I was like, oh crap. So now I'm sitting there and I'm trying to hold the fuel transfer switches open manually and calculate our landing distances and all that stuff. Fortunately, the captain, God rest his soul, he's gone now, but he was so far behind the airplane, he had no idea it was screwed up. And he's the only one who see my panel. The first officer was sharp, couldn't see my panel. So he never knew that I hadn't done the proper fuel transfer, but that got my attention early. And I'm like, ooh, this could be bad. Can we go into Anchorage on one engine? Only the number 2 working. And then someone, and later on, and I forget what the method was now, someone said, well, you could have done this and that would have empowered your solenoids to stay open. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But okay. The training in the simulator was never long haul, right? It's all short scenarios that you do this. Okay. Now you're doing that. So it was never a long haul thing. Here's how you do it. And IOE was always, Minneapolis to Indianapolis, Oakland to Denver, something like that. And so it was never enough that you needed aux tank fuel that needed to be transferred. So, oh well.
So the learning curve was steep.
Yeah, but learning did occur.
That's good. I bet it never happened again.
It did not.
Yeah, see,
it did not. So,
we lived through it. Usually that's it. Okay, I'll never do that again.
Exactly. Well, Fig, we've got about 17 more topics we can talk about. So I think we probably ought to do that another time because I think you've got a chef's game you want to watch in a little while.
Yeah, that's a fact. Hey, jot them down. Write the bullets down so we can come back to it.
Let's do it. Yeah, we spent more time on the MD-11 and UPS than I had originally wanted to or intended to, and I hope no one thinks that any speculation that I did was over the top. I tried not to be that way. I think it was just heartbreaking to watch that. And
I do appreciate the systems knowledge that you bring because I didn't know that the MD-11 incorporated the fix that downed the DC-10 United 232 with the catastrophic failure that took out all 3 hydraulics. So I wasn't aware of that. That was good information. Yeah, actually. Do you want me to tie the bow on my let's do it. Your opening story. There you are. Eject. Yeah. So what I didn't tell you in the beginning was that was not my first compressor stall in that airplane. The airplane was the T-45 Goshawk. It was brand new. We had been flying it for about a year, and I was one of the, if not the at the time, highest time Goshawk pilot because I was in the kind of initial group of guys that got trained up to fly it.
Had the new car smell, did it?
Oh, it still had the new car smell. Nice. And so it happened to me once before on a post maintenance check flight in it where it compressor stalled. It was supposed to be any angle of attack all the way to the highest power setting should work fine, right? Well, at high angles of attack and higher power settings, it compressor stalled. Well, so that's what happened in this case. I had a high angle attack with a lot of G, and then I was just reefing on even more. The airplane was starting to buff it, and then had the compressor stall. Well, the fire that my student, the solo student that was, by the way, above me, and had I ejected, I probably would have hit him.
A number's a number.
The fire. Oh,
no, that's your line.
You're right. Yeah. Hey. Moving up a number. No, the fire he saw was because of the compressor stall. It was flames shooting out the back and the intake at the same time. And so the way it worked out was I recognized it was a compressor stall. I had no fire light. I knew why he was seeing fire. So I said, please get away from me. Do not hang out above me. And then I did. He peeled off, to the left. And it was a valuable teaching moment, and we had a good debrief. I can't remember exactly the terms and the verbiage that I used, but I can guarantee there might have been a fuck or two mentioned, and dumbass or two mentioned, and never again mentioned during the debrief. But my guess is it increased his situational awareness, and it had a good story. The ending was I ended up having to shut the engine down, and that's always exciting when you only have one. But it lit right back up very quickly and ran great all the way back. And they did a borescope on it and found little dent or bend on one of the high pressure compressor blades, and they changed it out.
Well, before we land the plane, then, can you explain to people who don't understand jet engines why a compressor stall causes flame to shoot out the ass?
So, to simplify a jet engine, it's suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Yeah.
They're so simple. It pissed me off when I found out how simple a jet engine was. I'm like, no, it's far simpler.
Squeeze, bang, blow. So the suck is obviously, as it's turning, it's sucking air into the engine, and it's funneling it down into a smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller area. And that's done with blades, compressor blades that are getting shorter and shorter and closer together and closer
compressing the air.
Compressing the air. So they squeeze it all together. And then there is fuel being sprayed in this perfect pattern and a spark that lights it. And once it's lit, it stays lit. So you're squeezing air in.
It's like the spray of Lysol can in a lighter.
Yeah.
Once it's lit, it goes.
It goes until you run out. And so when this highly compressed air goes into the burner section, it goes, because it gets mixed with the fuel. And that explosion comes out the back really fast. And there's a turbine back there, which is high temperature coated blades in a disc that capture that heat and spins the motor, which sucks more air in. And so the faster it spins, the more air you compress, and the more air goes out the back, and it's the hot air going out the back that propels you forward. An afterburner is nothing more than another set of sprayers aft of the turbine that when the hot fire's coming out, they just spray more fuel on it, and it increases the thrust.
Right.
So when you get into that real tight section of the compressor where it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, if there's an imperfection on a blade, maybe due to you suck something down the engine that was hard and it went in and bent a few blades, well, now you're getting disrupting air.
Kind of like cavitation on a boat propeller.
And so instead of a nice smooth flow, it gets a burble in it, and it causes a cough. We call that a compressor stall. So what happens is you get a burble of air goes in. Now the fuel air mixture isn't right. It doesn't want to shoot out that, and it kind of coughs out the other way, and it causes a big bang. And that's what they call it. Compressor stall is actually the compressor blades are teeny tiny little wings that are producing lift, and it's the stall on a wing. Only a bunch of them at the same time causes a burble, and that's what causes a compressor stall inside a jet engine. How'd I do?
Fantastic, I think.
And it's a fairly violent event. It shakes the whole airplane. I mean, I haven't had a compressor stall in the airplane that I 737, but guys that have said it shakes the whole plane. And I can tell you, when you got the engine strapped right behind you and you have a compressor stall, it gets your attention right now.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that's the happy ending. Made it back. Everything's good. We all learned something, including me.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, shall we wrap this thing up?
I think we should. I think a week after Veterans Day, and happy birthday, 250th birthday, Marines. And that was fun. Fig and I saw each other last weekend down in Pensacola as our squadron got together. Guys I hadn't seen in
30 years.
35 years.
Yeah.
It was fun to catch up with folks.
Hopefully we'll get a couple of them on.
Do that again. Final AV-8B Harrier Squadron, VMA 223, our beloved Bulldogs, is shutting down the week of June 1st. The town of Havelock, North Carolina is throwing on a big to-do. I've already booked my airplane, my car rental, and my hotel. So if you haven't done so, do so at this time.
I'm wrong. I got to get on it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Hotels are filling up, man. Get after it. Seriously.
Let's talk offline. I want to know
where
you're.
All right. And then, So happy birthday, Marines. And thank you to all active duty and veterans and their families who make it possible for them to do their job. We are deeply grateful for your service and sacrifice.
I'm not laughing at that. That's ditto, and I can say that wholeheartedly. But I looked up and saw a comment from Badass. He said, "So a compressor stall is like sneezing after you eat a Taco Bell."
Coming out your nose and everything. Yep. And Silver Drill Pickle goes, "Badass, you just won the internet."
Oh my God, that's pretty good.
Well said, sir. Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Okay, back to this. Back to the matter at hand. Special thanks needs to go out to Dave Hamilton at Backbeat Media. Tell us why.
Backbeatmedia.com handles all our advertising, and so we're grateful to them for helping us out with that. Backbeat Media Online. If you have a show and you want advertising, reach out to backbeatmedia.com. And thanks, Dave, for the knowledge.
Yeah. Hey, and speaking of having a show, well, we have one. It's called So There I Was. And if you like it, share it. Share it with two of your friends. Send them a link.
Hold them down and make them listen.
It doesn't cost them. Just share it.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, we have a merch store. So if Christmas is coming up, and if you're looking for a unique gift, you can go to So There I Was.
I'm wearing the hoodie.
.us/merch. Yeah, hoodies. Hats.
This hoodie is amazing. I love it.
Hats. This one's a little dirty.
Got the hat. Yeah.
Bikini, shot glasses, flask. I mean, basically, if it's made, we got it with the So There I Was logo on it.
Exactly. Hey, and would you give us a rating, please? 5 stars, if you please. So therewas.us/rate. Follow the links to give us a rating on Spotify and or Apple. We're in need of good ratings. That helps drive people to our show.
And if you can't give us 5 stars, tell us what we could do to make it 5 stars, because
absolutely
we are trainable.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks to all of you who have lost all sense of financial responsibility. Crack your wallets and given money to us at sotherewas.us/Patreon or sotherewas.us/donate. And I keep threatening to do it. I'm going to find a way to get a Venmo up for us so that those folks don't get a cut of what it is you're trying to send to us. But we're deeply grateful. Thank you seems so inadequate, but it's the best words we have. You're keeping this show alive.
It's very humbling. It is very humbling, and we are greatly appreciative. But the bottom line is it's kind of expensive to produce a show, and I had no idea until we got into this thing what that means.
Right. Yeah, it gets there. And then a couple other thank yous. Badass is here live with us. Appreciate all the work you do. He sent us 2 amazing photos. Everybody signed them. They're going back to the squadron and to him. So we're grateful for that. We're missing 2 folks today. One of them is usually here at least, hanging out with us.
Badass? No, we're talking about Bago and Sticks.
Great. Badass is always here, man. Yeah. Maybe he should produce the show.
Yeah, Badass. No, Sticks and Bago.
We didn't even let Bago and Sticks know we were going this morning.
No, it was this happened really quick.
Let them sleep.
So yeah, that's probably good. But they're usually in the background making things happen so fast we don't even realize they're there doing it. But they're awesome, and we pay them so well. I don't know why they keep coming back, but they do. God bless them.
Right. And thinking of the things that are going on in the background, I think I hear something.
Well, that's the noise. That's the noise of the 2 F-16 pilots that make the Air Force sound good. That's the Dos Gringos.
4 albums. Not a bad song of the bunch.
Not one.
Not a one.
One bad
It'll
song.
make you happy.
That's right.
Listen to the Gringos. It'll make you happy. So good stuff. All right, man. Well, Till next week, everybody. Stay safe and check 6.
Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
Hold on. It's what?
He said it's over.
You know, if the captain had seen me not transferring that fuel, you know what he'd have said to me?
You can't fix stupid.
And we are out.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for everybody. A lot more people showed up than I expected. We had 10 or 12 people on YouTube alone at one point here. So that was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for showing up, everybody. Sorry for the
man.
late notice.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Go Chiefs.
Yeah. You as well. We actually, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to do a short preamble to this because we do have a sponsor and they require what's called a pre-show mention. So I'll do, unless you want to do one with me, I think just mention, hey, this is a normal show. And
just do it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make it so.
I trust you.
Awesome. And we'll try and get a recording next week. Looks like we got a B-2 pilot on the hook.
Nice.
And then Ike. And then reached out to the guy that was put out to us by Stealth. So, all right, guys, we're going to end the stream here so I can get things ready for this week. And we're going to try and get a show or two in the bag ahead of time too, with busy schedules ahead. So, holidays are here again. How did that happen?
I know. I don't know. It's a damn
all right, killing the